Thank you and welcome back, everybody. Before I start talking to you about the ITIL practices, I want to just give you a feeling for the structure of the publications so that you'll know where you can find more information about the practices when you're looking for it later. So if we look at the overall view of the ITIL certification scheme that we looked at yesterday, we have the ITIL Foundation, which is what we're all studying this week together. We have the 4 ITIL Managing Professional training courses and publications, and we have the Digital and IT Strategy. There is a book for each of those. There is an ITIL Foundation book, which covers everything you need to know for ITIL Foundation. There is a book for Create, Deliver and Support, one for Drive Stakeholder Value, one for High Velocity IT, one for Direct Plan and Improve, and one for Digital and IT Strategy. So each exam has a publication that covers most of the syllabus for that exam. The ITIL practices, remember we talked yesterday, there are 34 practices in ITIL. ITIL Foundation has about 3 pages about each practice, giving you an overview of the important things you need to know about that practice. But that's only a limited amount of information. There's a lot more available about each practice, and that will be published online. It will be available from the AXELOS website. You can either pay an annual subscription to get access to all 34 practices, or if you pass your ITIL Foundation exam, then AXELOS will grant you access to the practice publications for a 12-month period. And each practice has probably about 40 pages of information. And I'll talk about the sort of information that is in the practices as we come on to the details. But I just want to make it clear, we have separate publications for each ITIL exam, but the practices are separate, online, PDF, and you will get them via a subscription. Practices. Before we talk about specific practices, let's start with the definition of a practice. A practice is a set of organizational resources designed for performing work or accomplishing an objective. This definition is technically correct, but it isn't very helpful if you don't already know what a practice is. So let me take you back a bit. In previous versions of ITIL, we had processes. We had a lot of processes. Things like incident management and problem management and service continuity management and availability management. In ITIL version 2, there were 10 of them in the service support and service delivery publications, which were the ones people studied. In ITIL version 3, there were about 26 processes, depending on how you counted them. Those processes were described and defined as a set of activities that converts a set of inputs into a set of outputs. And that's the same definition of a process as we still have in ITIL 4. A practice is a lot more than a process. So not only do we have many more of them, there are 34 practices in ITIL 4, but also each one has a much wider scope. Every practice is described in terms of organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers, and value streams and processes. So when we say a set of organizational resources in the definition, we're talking about those resources that come from the 4 dimensions of service management, the people who do the work, the information and technology that supports the work, the organizational structures that define what work is needed and how it's to be done and how it's to be managed and reported, the partners and suppliers who can contribute to and support the work, and the value streams the work contributes to, and the processes that actually do the work. So we do have processes. Each practice defines one or more processes. Even a practice as simple as incident management defines more than one process, and we'll look at that in more detail in a few minutes. So what are practices? What do they describe? What content have they got? Thank you for attending this ITIL 4 Foundation e-learning course, which is a preparation course for candidates taking the official AXELOS ITIL 4 Foundation exam, which is conducted by PeopleCert. One World Training is an authorized training provider for all modules of ITIL 4, Prince 2, Prince 2 Agile, PeopleCert Scrum Master, PeopleCert DevOps, and Service Desk Institute courses, including Service Desk Analyst V8 and Service Desk Manager V8, and many other courses. All courses offered by One World Training are available via e-learning and live online. For enrollment queries, you can contact info, I-N-F-O, at oneworldtraining.com, as you see on this slide. If you've got any questions about anything you have learned on this training course, then you can email One World Training using that same email address as shown on this slide. I hope that you have enjoyed this course, and I'd like to wish you good luck in your ITIL 4 Foundation exam. Thank you and goodbye.